Hey everybody, we've been dealing with honey, but I was wanting to show this off. I went and picked it today. So we showed this in one of the garden updates, and I talked about it on one of our live streams, and that was months ago. This was an experiment I did. Well, it was an experiment to me, because I've not heard of anybody doing this to a pepper plant. But I've heard plenty of stories about people molding fruit and other things such as gourds. I've seen them make gourd molds. I've seen them make square watermelons with molds. And I heard about the pears that had a mold of Buddha put around them, and they looked like Buddha, but they were pears. That's what this was. A mold that I put on a pepper plant. Specifically, I chose the black tie TQ, and the only reason why was because I knew it wasn't throwing massive pods, but it was throwing pods bigger than the void inside this. So I knew that it wasn't going to be this gigantic pod trying to fit in this small space, but I knew that it should be, it should fill out the mold, hopefully. So I went and picked it today, and I'm going to show it to y'all and let y'all see how it filled out my mold. I've just got to unscrew my screws. You can see where they rusted from the rain and the weather and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I just took and I made a mold, a little 2-part mold. And I decided that I was going to try this on a pepper. I picked a pepper that was just starting to form, and it was just large enough to fit this mold around without the mold falling off. And that's how I did it. I got lucky and picked right at the right time, and it just held. It didn't break the little forming pepper off. It wasn't heavy enough to stress the plant to that extent. And the way I made this mold, I 3D printed it. And I know the way that they were doing the gourd molds for cups was they were 3D printing those as well. I'm pretty certain the watermelon ones are made out of metal. I'm not sure what the Buddha pear was made out of, but yeah, this was a 3D printed mold. So got my screws there, and so here's the mold. You can see the shape. It's just a shape that gets larger, and then it gets smaller, and it's got this little weird void donut-like shape in the middle. I didn't have an idea on a mold, but I wanted to make a mold, so I made a shape that peppers normally don't make, and that was basically what I did. So look at this little pepper. Obviously he didn't conform, perfectly. You can see there's some spots, but this is nature we're talking about. But look at that. He's fit in there really nicely. Now if you look, you can see that he actually grew. He grew longer than my mold. You can see he folded over, the tail of the pepper is folded over right there. Because it actually got longer than the mold, but it grew in the confined space. And you can see, I can flex that, and you can see that it is the tail of the pepper. So I thought that was really cool. It even did kind of fill out that weird donut shape on this side. Peppers normally don't make this weird shape, so I consider that a success. Let me see if I can get it out of the mold. There we go. I popped it out of the mold. So yeah, you can see what it looks like. And it's red, so it should be ready to pick. They start out black, they turn red, and this one is in the drying stage. But you can see how much longer and bigger this one is than this one. So, yeah, I just think that's really cool that this pepper conformed this pod to the shape of that mold. I think that's really neat. So yeah, thanks for taking a look at the video, and here's my mold. You can just see my weird shape I made. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Have a good day, morning, afternoon, night,